Does the Bible actually tell us what happened to the Ark of the Covenant? Oh yeah, and what it says might shock you. Because no, it's not hidden in a cave. It's not in Ethiopia. And Indiana Jones isn't gonna find it with a torch and a whip. According to actual scripture, God let it be destroyed, or at the very least, plundered and completely forgotten. It wasn't just misplaced, it was abandoned on purpose. The Ark was God's footstool. But that changed in the Old Testament. The Ark of the Covenant was the most sacred object in Israel. It was literally where God's presence rested, between the two cherubim on top of the mercy seat. In Psalms and Chronicles, it's referred to as God's footstool. That's how serious it was. But then the prophet Jeremiah comes in with a mic drop moment. In Jeremiah 3:16, God says, "They shall say no more, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore." In modern words, God says people won't talk about it anymore. No one's going to think about it. They won't care. It won't be rebuilt. It won't matter anymore. God's done with it. That's not speculation. He literally says it. Why won't it be remembered? Because the real throne is coming, and here's the why. The very next verse, Jeremiah 3:17, says this, "At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it." Boom. There it is. The Ark was just the placeholder, a symbolic throne. But in the end times, the actual throne of God will be in Jerusalem. Jesus himself will rule from there, and when the king is literally present, you don't need a gold-covered box to represent him. The Ark was a shadow. Jesus is the reality. During the fall of Jerusalem, the Ark is never mentioned again. So what happened to it? Here's the crazy part. When Nebuchadnezzar invaded Jerusalem and destroyed the temple, everything else is listed. The gold bowls, the silver pans, the pillars of bronze, they're all either destroyed or carried off to Babylon. 2 Kings 25:9-15 gives you the full breakdown of what got burned, broken, or looted. But not one word is said about the Ark. Not one. It's just missing. Now think about this. If the Ark had been hidden to protect it, wouldn't that be a huge deal worth mentioning? If it was smuggled away by priests or divinely preserved, the Bible would have made that crystal clear. But instead it goes silent. Why? Because God already said he was done with it. 1 Esdras confirms it was plundered. If you go to 1 Esdras, a historical book included in the original 1611 King James Bible, it retells the fall of Jerusalem and backs this up even further. 1 Esdras 1:54 says, "So Nebuchadnezzar carried away the treasures of the Lord to Babylon." Then verse 56 says, "He spoiled the temple and carried away all the holy vessels." All of them. That includes the Ark. If it had been protected or hidden, Esdras would have separated it from the rest. But he didn't. Just like everything else, it was taken. Lamentations tells us God abandoned his footstool. Now we get to one of the most emotional and heavy confirmations, Lamentations. Jeremiah is mourning the destruction of the temple and the fall of Jerusalem. And in chapter 2, verse 1, he says, "How hath the Lord remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger?" That's it right there, the Ark, the footstool of God. And what does the Bible say? He remembered it not. God let it go. He let it be destroyed, carried off, or desecrated. Why? Because it wasn't needed anymore. The judgment was real, and the presence of God had already departed. So what really happened to the Ark? The Bible doesn't leave it as a mystery. It tells us exactly what happened if we're paying attention. Jeremiah says it won't be remembered or remade. Esdras says it was carried off with the rest of the temple treasures. Lamentations says God abandoned his footstool. And the future? God's throne will be in Jerusalem, not on a box. There's no secret cave, no hidden vault, no final discovery waiting to happen. The Ark was just a symbol, and symbols don't matter when the real thing shows up. The real throne is Jesus, ruling from Jerusalem, not above cherubim this time, but in power and glory for all nations to see. If this helped you understand what actually happened to the Ark of the Covenant and what the Bible really says about God's throne, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with someone who still thinks it's sitting in a secret temple somewhere. The truth is better than the theories. Jesus is the glory the Ark pointed to.